Zhao. That was the other jungler that was escaping my mind. And with that being selected here for Xiaohao, there's not many options that at least IG can feel comfortable in saying that, yeah, we can go toe-to-toe with Xin early on.
Yeah, I mean, you've lost a ton of those early game focused junglers right here. There's almost none of them left at this point, so for Wei, you're going to have to move on towards something a little bit different. He's been really enjoying going towards those heavy skirmishes. Maybe the Skarn is something you potentially look at if you feel like you need it. Otherwise, you've got the Maokai as well in your back pocket. The Yunara was something that we saw banned previously, and IG going to slam it early.
Yeah, Vi is still technically available, but IG... I mean, they can just burn that option right now just to make sure that they still have some level 6 potential set up with that cease and desist to guarantee a lockdown on one priority target. Here, you can scrap with the Xin. We just know how powerful a Xin Zhao can be in a lot of these scenarios where he just seemingly never dies just thanks to the power of that sustain paired along with the Sundered Sky Rush. So that is going to be IG's call here. Yunara giving up, though, to Gala. The man that found the first global pentakill for this champion, I'm already nervous, Bloxxer.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you slammed this one in this early as well is very interesting. Angel going to pick himself up this Orianna, so you've got decent ball delivery alongside that Xin Zhao. And yeah, I was gonna say, right, when we've been looking at these bot lane champions, the Varus hasn't been first pick, but it's not B1 every single time anymore. That's fun for the diversity of drafts, but EDG grabbing this one, they've got a ton of very impressive champions for themselves early on, and the Varus here into the Yunara, you can poke her out pretty easily during the early stages. Late game though, the Yunara is all over these team fights, right? You press that R button and you can just run through almost all of these EDG champions. It's only going to be Xiaohao with that Crescent Guard up that's going to find it a little bit easier to deal with Gala.
And with this anti-lock in for IG, this is now looking more like a standard IG draft that we have seen a majority of the Rumble stage here in Split 3. You have two very, very easy to execute champions for Wei and Rookie. Point and click stun and CC between the cease and desist from Vi, as well as just throwing a Q. You don't even have to try and land the Tibbers or the Flash Tibbers ulti setup, right? You just lead with Q. That guarantees the stun chain. It puts a lot more pressure on to other IG members to follow up for the damage, but that has been something that they feel so comfortable doing time and time again with Gala and TheShy as the benefactors of the setup.
Absolutely, and that means that you just get to look at a couple of these EDG members that are quite squishy and go, yeah, you, goodbye. You do not get to play this fight. It does mean that you're a little bit more about those picks during the earlier stages, and then before these team fights, if you can find a pick and then go for the rest of the fight, that should make things a little bit easier. In straight up front to back situations where you actually are buying a little bit of a space here for the Orianna, for the Varus, depending on what Varus this is, I think at the moment I'd prefer poke. I don't think you really want to be getting close enough for on hit at the moment, but it'll depend on what the tanky champions IG potentially grab for themselves are. Then EDG, they should be okay, but they aren't super early game focused at this point, right? This is not me looking at EDG and going, oh yeah, they're going to smash during the early stages. We'll see what they get to do up in the top lane, because we are seeing the Ambessa taken off the board by EDG, which is interesting.
Ooh, the support pool does leave open this Alistar. It just gets slammed by Meiko. Probably one of his best champions, if not the best champion for Meiko, as he has been able to just pull off so many damn good plays this split already. The Baron Steel with the Unsealed Spellbook, a all-time great just from this split alone. EDG now thinking about how they can resolve the rest of their draft. They already have at least decent options going forward with the Chain of Corruptions and the Shockwave and Xin. Having the Braum gives you some disengage and kiteback options, and you can now at least pair it with the Scion as your primary setup so that EDG have flexibility in the direction they want to go in these team fights.
I mean, currently IG, they don't have the worst time because of the Yunara getting through tanks, but still it's not great, right? They don't have multiple tank shredders at the moment. You don't have the option to pick yourself up the Gwen up into the top lane either, so you're not going to have too much tank shredding up there, you have to imagine. We'll see what TheShy decides to take right here into the Scion. He's been pretty happy to take almost every single poking matchup into it. He's been happy to pick himself up. Also just, hey, I'll absorb the pressure too and go towards something a bit tankier. Right now, hovering towards the Fiora. This would be really odd with the overall composition they've got. Yeah, I think there's something with a little bit of extra sustain would make a lot more sense. Yeah, okay. I was going to say, as soon as you hover the Fiora, I'm
waiting.
like, no.
You know, that's the thing with hovers. We don't get baited. We'll say, fun trivia, for those that don't know, TheShy, Fiora, that is his skin champion that he got with IG in 2018. It would have been a treat to see it flexed here on the Rift today, but TheShy just goes for something that works a little bit better. Not only having a decent time laning into the Scion and can farm alongside it, but also, if he's able to find the angle, this Aatrox can be just as terrifying as a front line, just from all the sustain he gets from the World Ender.
Oh yeah. I mean, we got to see it, right? I think it was in the EDG versus WE matchup where ZDZ had himself the Aatrox, and it looks like a kind of lost team fight, and he gets a Q3 off, and he heals for his entire health bar. I mean, just immediately back to full health, and unfortunately for WE, they weren't able to get through that, and that was the end of that one. I think it was actually in the 4th game as well. It was a crazy turnaround, so we know that the Aatrox can be incredibly strong, but looking at these compositions overall, I quite like what EDG have. I think it works in and of itself. You've got decent damage, you've got some ball delivery, you've got great frontline as well. That being said, this is quite the IG composition, right? They could just blow one member up, and then you get to run the rest of the fight.
They don't necessarily have a reset composition or a champion that... Actually, I take that back. That's the Aatrox, baby. You continue to extend the world ender duration of the team fight, so it just plays into the hands of the strengths of IG. Something that looks a little bit more trademark from what we have seen this 3rd split. Obviously, that game 1 was a big out of left field, but now we get to see something that plays into the strengths of both of these teams. It's time to hit the rift for game 2 between EDG and IG.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎。
你单薄的身体是这里唯一的希望。
Love it. Both of the top laners just going to be saying, hey, not really going to be looking for anything too explosive, not like we had in the previous game, where Parukia's able to get that flash away from Rookie, never ended up being punished out on. So, what can EDG do here? They've got themselves the blue side, they've got a composition that we do like for them as well, but it is going to be a little bit tough, and you can already see Rookie just stepping up right here, looking to poke out onto Angel a little bit, potentially.
Threatening with that point-and-click stun if he took the Q level 1, or at least could get in range with the W Incinerate. Get to see the keystones here. It's a Hail of Blades from On. Wait a minute.
Ooh.
Does that change up his build? Because I imagine we were going to be seeing a Poke Varus here with the lethality, but...
Yeah, I would have thought we were going more towards Poke here, but no. Clearly not. That is very interesting. We will see what he ends up going towards overall. Usually you see, it's a Comet, cool, it's going to be Poke. You've got any of those yellow runes, really. Awesome. He's just going to go on towards that one hit, but yeah, with Hail of Blades, this is interesting.
I'm trying to think if that is what you go for when you go like the Gnasher's Tooth AP variant of Varus, because you set up the Blight stacks for max stacks and then instantly pop an ability for the...
In this game?
Disgusting max HP percentage damage. We'll see. The items will give us the truth, Bloxxer, all in good time.
See.
Right now, Meiko and Gala don't care what Keystone On is rocking with at the moment, because they have already got push here and hit level 2 first. As we talked about before from the game 1, we want to see EDG operate with a little bit more volatility, a little bit more confidence, and just trying to blow the game wide open early on, because we feel that IG are just better when it comes to macro game decision making. So EDG, can they turn on the jets and just fire IG at full firepower here?
Yeah, I mean, if they can just get themselves a massive advantage right here into IG, we know that IG, they can pull games back, but it does make it a heck of a lot harder if you've got a big wallet diff to deal with. And EDG, they have shown us that they have some proactivity. I want to see even more of it here from Xiaohao. He's got himself that Xin Zhao, which is one of the best champions that you've got in the game for early ganks if you can get it off. Also has a lot of late game survivability with that ulti as well. And so he is well positioned, at least through the draft, to be able to make a big impact onto this game. He is going for the full clear, top to bottom at the moment, so he's going to end up down here in the next 30, 40 seconds or so. Could potentially look for a gank because IG, they are pushing up through their bottom lane.
Curious why Xiaohao was a little slow on the clear. The picture-in-picture reveals that he was looking for an early gank onto Rookie.
We're thinking about Halo Blades, and we should be thinking about what Xiaohao's doing.
True that. And unfortunately for him, Xiaohao was not able to find anything worthwhile onto Rookie. Not even a flash burned or a major health advantage here. ZDZ getting chunked out by TheShy's Aatrox on the top side as Wei is able to get double Scuttle Crab opener here on the buy.
Yeah, he's been able to get himself quite far ahead, and that's the unfortunate thing, right? We want to see tons of proactivity out of Xiaohao, but if it doesn't work, if you end up not getting that full gank off, well, all of a sudden you've delayed yourself out a little bit, and he's not able to be as proactive as you would have otherwise wanted. And this is great for Wei, because in terms of champions that want to have early proactivity, the Vi is another one of those that really does need to get ahead, especially once you get that level 6, right? It's point and click with the cease and desist. You can at least blow a flash out of someone, but we do often see Vi's just kind of sit back, not get involved, and end up falling behind. And if you do that, you really just don't bring that much to the later game team fights.
And this wave state does not look great for EDG's bot lane here, as it is pushing into Gala, who can easily receive it. Already got a base off, has the Cole stacking up alongside an extra dagger here.
Yeah.
Wonder if IG can set this wave up to punish on and Parukia, burn some summoner spells, or at least put some pressure onto the lane. Wei is already pathing to the bottom side of the map. So is Xiaohao, as the flash comes out from On to dodge out on the pulverize from Meiko. Summoner spell advantage now in favor of IG's Gala.
Nice. The fact that Gala's able to just step up there, and it was very aggressive. Parukia immediately puts that shield up, and the second he does that, the return damage is going to come through. They were banking on Meiko being a little bit further away than he was, and it does just draw them a little bit too far forwards. Wei smells blood in the water, potentially looks for a gank bot lane, but is obviously just going to get spotted out by the ward. And actually, both of these junglers now immediately going to be spotted, so everybody going to be well aware of what is happening. It's going to be important for the bottom lane, but really, I'm looking at the top lane right here. You get to just keep pushing a ZDZ because you're fully aware that you're not going to get ganked by Wei.
ZDZ is able to at least push a majority of his wave and crash it into the Shy's tower. We saw Tibbers being expended by Rookie just for lane priority, as this could now set up IG to look for an early dragon, but they have to contest the push on the bottom side of the map first. And with Xiaohao guarding and backing up Parukia and on the play here, it'll be a lot more difficult to do for IG, so it just might result in neither team securing the first dragon relatively soon.
It's possible. Then again, you've got a couple of members around it right here for IG. Could potentially look to start this one up with bot lane pressure, with the mid lane pressure already fully on your side. And neither of the top laners have got themselves any teleports to come and join in if you did want to go for the full skirmish. So it looks like it is just going to be nice and easily picked up right here by Wei. And in terms of individual Drakes to get, I think the Hex Check is the best one.
Yeah. Xiaohao did not want to commit and stay on the bottom side for too much longer there. Eventually gives up on the push for that first dragon of the game. IG are going to win out on that. But Xiaohao gets the early jump onto the top side of the map.
Yeah.
Shy.
He knows something's wrong. Don't step up.
Come on, TheShy. You know that you're the play. You know that you're the play. Xiaohao reveals himself. TheShy pops the world ender, sidesteps the onslaught, and he still has a flash. He's able to sidestep one. He doesn't even need the flash.
Nope.
Easily baited in, pulls Xiaohao to the top side of the map, wastes his time, gets an ultimate out of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, the second the ZDZ pops that ulti and misses, it's going to be tricky. He also had completely run out of mana as well, so wasn't even going to be able to do anything else throughout the rest of that fight. Just a little bit of a missed time on the gank, potentially. Needed TheShy to step up a little bit further forwards. Instead, it's going to be no play on the top side, and the Drake going over to IG in the bottom lane. And EDG, they're trying to be proactive again, but it hasn't worked out.
And I don't fault them for it, Bloxxer, because it's what we're asking for. Unfortunately, it's easier said than done, especially against Invictus Gaming of all teams here. Wei secures the first grub of the game, immediately goes with the smite. The rest of EDG now trying to support Xiaohao on the push into the river. Looks like IG should be safe here and not dropping any deaths unnecessarily. Grubs are now being contested by the rest of EDG, but Meiko steps up. Smite comes out from Xiaohao. Now it's 1-1 in terms of grub control. TheShy steps up. Good shockwave, decent damage on the way, and Meiko from Angel, but now they have the re-engage, looking for Parukia in the middle. CDC caught in the crossfire as well. Crescent guard from Xiaohao at least splits it up. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far.
Gala.
But look at Gala has found all. They both go down. Cinema. IG still trying to fight their way through the river on the top side. In the end, TheShy and Meiko still alive, battling Xiaohao to the very death. World Ender is not needed because he is still ending their worlds all the same. Angel caught by the darkened blade, and Angel is forced to flash away from the infernal chains.
I think that final grub as well also went over to IG, so they're able to pick themselves up that critical stack on towards the feats as well. And once again, I mean, Gala is just playing like a madman right here. Very nearly is able to get that kill. Pretty much 1v1 up against his lane opponent. Arn just about is able to get through enough of a charged piercing arrow to make it play. And this is a really nice initial bit of engage. You can see Xiaohao's very reticent to go in. He's waiting, not sure if he should. Finally does jump in, but this bottom side play. Oh, one final auto for both of them. Otherwise, that could have completely changed things. If you've still got your ADC up and kicking at this point in the game, whoever's got that ADC available to you probably wins this fight.
Just a multiple skirmish scenario where there's like an isolated fight here, there's an isolated fight over there. In the end, IG barely pulls ahead in gold and in kills. I believe IG do net for themselves the feat of strength, or at least the feat of warfare. No, it's actually EDG.
No, EDG. EDG got the first couple of kills on that. Yeah.
That's right.
So
it's
close.
Feats of strength still could be up for grabs, but EDG definitely have the advantage when it comes to that.
Yeah, I mean, that final grubby going over, making sure that it's not now going to be 1-for-1 in terms of those feats towards objectives. Also, very, very important. Rookie getting collapsed on here. Oh, did he know? Or was that just the random movement of Rookie that dodged him away from that Wind Becomes Lightning?
I have no idea, Bloxxer, but if that was just sense, hang on, Chain of Corruptions onto Gala, On trying to see if he has enough damage here. He finally gets the last piercing arrow, and On is victorious over Gala this time around.
There we go, that's what you want to see right here. 1v1s between these bot laners. Nobody's even got their first items completed. And it does look like it is going to be a little bit more towards that lethality poke bars right here for On. TheShy jumping up. And this game, it's not disappointing, right? Even if this ends up being a 3-0 for IG as we're expecting, right? This is not a stomp. Every single one of these games, EDG is fighting back. They were able to fight back fully for 30 minutes in the previous game. At least these first 11.5 here in game number 2 have been pretty close. And in the end, right, it's only about a 300 gold lead for IG. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Once again, we come back to hesitation, the apprehension about early game advantages when it's going into an IG squad. Now, EDG, they can still find ways to get a gold advantage over IG. The game has not run away completely from them yet, but we still think about the methods that IG have at their disposal. The point and click, the ease of setup and execution that they can just try and snowball Gala and TheShy with, as IG now corralling around Angel, who does not have a flash from the previous fight on the top side of the map. Meiko leads the charge, cease and desist right on top of it. He threw out the shockwave for a little bit of damage, but Meiko just doesn't care because he's got that unbreakable will, and the heal keeps him alive for now. But now EDG looking for the collapse. Meiko might just go down here. Rookie flashes away and says sayonara to his support because he knows that that cow is going down.
Yep. EDG ults on into the mid lane as well, just to save a couple more plates away from Gala. And EDG, they manage to play back. They get themselves a little bit of extra aggression down onto the bottom lane. And again, going even, 1-for-1s, back and forth every single time. IG, they were able to grab that first Drake. EDG looking to even it up, but teleport's coming on in as well. That looks like it's going to be a teleport in from Rookie. Oh, and TheShy.
I don't think Wei was spotted yet. I mean, now they know where he is at. Parukia forced to flash away, trying to use the sand behind me to just get repositioning back, but TheShy's leading the charge here. The exhaust comes out momentarily, but he still has the World Ender going, and it's extended by all the kills being picked up by Gala. IG eliminate 2 from the Rift, and that Dragon should be easily secured now by Wei.
And this is just unfortunate timing right here from EDG. They make that bottom lane play work, which is good, but the teleport from ZDZ just came back. Angel does not have his available to him, and so you don't get to reposition a bunch of people to this fight. You end up getting completely outflanked, out-rotated by IG, and they're going to take that second Drake of the game and the feat of monster slaying as their prize.
And now it just comes down to who gets first brick to secure the feats of strength. Take a look back at the replay.
Oh boy, yeah, I mean, you gotta land all of that right. We didn't see that. We were busy looking down at the bottom side of where Wei was playing, but a little bit of a through the upright situation, just straight away from Rookie, and he's able to turn back around, deal his damage. TheShy also just running through people, constantly landing those Qs, making it so it's very tricky to be able to play these out right here as EDG. They find themselves down by just over 1,000 gold, nearing on 2,000. It's still not something they can't get back to. They can't completely count themselves out of this game.
Yeah.
But again, small mistake from EDG, big gain for IG.
The advantage is starting to climb now to 2,000. And as we have noted in any series that IG has played in Group Ascent during the Rumble stage, when IG are even, you're already worried. When they're ahead, oh no.
Yep.
Start slamming the emergency button. And for EDG, even though this composition has some decent scaling aspects, you have a front line that's going to get stronger and stronger in this Scion. It just comes down to, does EDG have the ability to beat IG in a map state where every macro decision can be game-changing or game-warping, and IG have proven time and time again that they are the masters at it. Now, Rift Herald has been started up by EDG. Meiko, the first one into the river from IG, at least on the right side. Wei and Rookie flanking around from the left. TheShy does not have the teleport.
Oh, he's spotted!
Holy moly, Rookie just flashes in on the backline, loses his mind, doesn't get anyone gone, and Wei is forced to flash away because now he's lost out on his Annie. So IG have lost one of their primary setups. Now it's just down to the cease and desist as Gala pops the ultimate, it looks like, but cannot find anything more. EDG just say, thank you, Rookie, very much.
That's a certified Rookie moment from this split. He has had just some questionable decisions back and forth. TheShy gonna pop himself into that World Ender, and actually ZDZ dropping real low. Okay. He's alright. I love it.
Flashes
Is that
the
EDG 2015 emote?
I believe so.
That's a nice old emote to have right there. Love that.
Listen, that's when Parukia first started watching competitive League of Legends. Red buff, is it secured by Wei? That's gonna... Yeah, feels bad for Xiaohao, not able to secure his own red buff, and TheShy, even though he doesn't kill CDZ, he is able to put enough pressure to take out the bottom tier turret. That secures feats of strength for IG.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It looked like EG were actually going to be able to grab that for themselves, but just weren't able to get any real damage down onto the towers. Still, IG, they over-aggress around the Herald. They lose out onto it as well, and that is something that you can now potentially play around right here as EDG. Where can you use this Herald, right? It's sat in the back pocket of Xiaohao. Right now, the mid lane and top lane towers have both taken decent chunks of damage, so if you could knock either of those down, open up the map, get a little bit more gold into your back pockets, something you're really going to need, because despite the fact the kills do go over to EDG, 3k now going to be the advantage. 2 Drakes in the back pocket of IG as well. And 1 minute 30 until the next one is going to be spawning, so the setup is going to be critical right here, because EDG, they can't afford to be fighting into darkness.
Protobell from Rookie.
Oh,
no, he tried
wait!
to flash the shockwave, but he still got clipped by
Rookie,
it.
no!
Is Rookie now dud? Oh no, Angel should be able to look for another combo here, but Rookie gets another stun. Angel's gonna push for it. They both go down. What is happening between the mid laners here? Meanwhile, the fight continues in the mid lane. Gala takes the last turret shot. CDC flashing to close the distance, takes out Gala for himself. Big shutdown going over to Scion, as now TheShy is here for reinforcements, and now ZDZ finds himself forced to use the ultimate just to run away from danger.
Hey, that's fine. You're actually not mad about that one. You save Parukia if he's not in... Okay, he gets away. I was going to say, you save Parukia. He nearly proved me wrong right there. You've also got the Herald charging on through the top lane. You live right... this is so tricky because IG constantly get themselves bits of gold back. That should have been an overall win there for EDG, but IG, they still turn it into a tower. They still get themselves bits of gold back and forth. We were busy watching the top lane. What happens here? On face checks. Flash. Cleanse. Still dies, right? He still ends up going down. But it does draw Gala in a little bit too far forward. So, you know, at least you're punishing back. This has been the thing. I feel like we've said a lot this game that EDG have punished back onto IG mistakes, which is good, but it doesn't feel like EDG have been able to make proactive plays of their own happen yet. Although, Wei, you are super in no man's land right now, bud.
Definitely feels like IG are the ones making the game very entertaining and volatile, and EDG are just reacting in the best ways possible. That top lane 1v1 between Angel and Rookie was definitely very funny. But now we're going to have to see if EDG can make use of that advantage. No flash on Rookie for this Annie. Trying to step on up. Chain of Corruptions clips Wei.
There they go.
Xiaohao goes immediately for him. Meanwhile, into the back line. On gets popped. IG can just run through the rest of them. 3-man Shockwave into a multi-man knockup from ZDZ. Does he have enough damage to look for any killing blows on IG? I don't think so. Xiaohao gets dropped. Angel's next, and now ZDZ is just running for his life, and Gala is just on full turbo energy right now with the Yunara. That's the ace for IG at 8:19 minutes.
Yeah, Gala and TheShy are just wrecking house right here. Can you imagine that play from EDG? The shockwave into multi-man unstoppable onslaught into knockup from the Q as well. If On was still available, if you had a damage dealer in the area, it could have been the fight to turn things around right there for EDG. But IG, they make the correct play, and it all comes off the back of this brilliant flank right here from Rookie, right? Rookie, he sat on his side of the map, but it just gets into the wrong side of things for EDG. Jumps on forwards, drops Tibbers on their heads, and TheShy recognizes that, leaps straight on in as well. World Ender activated. And it's just so easy, it looks like, for IG to rip on through. EDG, again, they keep it even for a good amount of time in this game, but things are beginning to slip away from them.
And it's around the same time of the game, too, Bloxxer, where we look at EDG and IG from game 1, where things were a little funky between both of them in the first 15-20 minutes of the game, but then you get to that third dragon point, you get to that Otacon point, one of those objectives. That's where the game gets blown wide open, and IG have finally pried open the game with a massive 7,000 gold advantage here against EDG. And we talked about the dangers of when IG are the ones that get the gold advantage.
Yeah, I mean, as Weibo can attest to, right? 10k gold advantage versus IG, it ain't enough. That can be something that IG know how to overcome. And so finding yourself at this point, 20 and a bit minutes into this game, with a team composition that really wanted to get rolling in a couple of spots early on, and it just hasn't happened for you, you're now going to be down by, what is that, 7,000 gold at this point in the game? Yeah, it's an incredibly tough mountain for EDG to climb. I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's going to take a couple of miracles, and first of all, a couple of picks to get this gold a little bit more even.
EDG are going to try to at least start burning this Otacon to force IG to answer them. That does pull Gala away from pushing onto the tier 2 turret in the mid lane.
It's
but
so
will
slow.
this be a decision that EDG are grateful for? We'll find out soon, because now TheShy is looking to pincer and close the gap around EDG, providing no room for an escape. EDG have to fight their way out if they want to survive on this front. The Otacon resets temporarily. It is pulled over to Wei, as the rest of IG is just trying to make sure that the objective goes back to full HP, but it stays at around 6,700.
They're so
EDG still
surrounded.
have an opportunity to try and force IG into them in a unideal scenario. Meiko gets a big knockup though on a ZDZ. The tank, the main front line for EDG, is already about to die, and now TheShy finds his time to fly into the back line with the World Ender, with the Darker Blade. Wei sends it, shockwave on a couple of members, but it's EDG that are losing health bars. Rookie flashes on the Angel, pops the Tibbers, and Xiaohao dies in vain. The rest of IG just have full control, and they have successfully strangled EDG out of this game too.
They're going to be able to turn back around, grab themselves this Otacon as well. And IG, they are just all over this one. But I gotta be honest, it's bad positioning, and it's worse macro and micro here from EDG. I mean, they're potentially going to try and push back into this one. Teleport coming on in as well. You are going to get Angel in the area, and People are getting low. I mean, we've seen bigger throws around Atakan.
At first,
Round 2?
if you don't succeed from EDG, you can try again. I
Oh my
appreciate
God.
this look. EDG, you just gotta send it and just pray that something will happen that looks positive for your side. ZDZ already losing nearly 50% of his HP just to see teleported in. That's your main front line, already threatened. And the
jungler's
Shy
both reset.
is back at full HP. Wei is on his way, so is Xiaohao. The Otacon is fully reset. And maybe, Bloxxer, we have some time to breathe.
I don't know. I feel like these teams are going to want to go scrap again. Like you said, tons of the front line has already taken chunks off of it. But no, IG, they are going to start themselves up the Atakan again. And EDG, they can't afford to lose this one.
Rookie steps up. He might go down
Oh!
here. EDG find their first kill of the fight, but now it's the Shy that can just take over with the World Ender, but the duration's starting to run out. He doesn't get a reset off. The World Ender has ended, but Wei finds on in the backline with the cease and desist, and now he's the one pushing forward and driving the fight for IG, and Gala is just untouched. He can just delete everyone else from EDG. ZDZ ends up falling, and the rest of IG are corralling any stragglers from EDG. Parukia on the wrong side of the map here, and it's just another IG game run here in standard fashion.
EDG, they just keep stepping up. They are absolutely not going to let their foot off of the gas, but unfortunately seem to be putting them straight into the wall of IG. And they are taking their heads off every single time. We'll have a look back. Is this the first engage? No, this is the second engage. Rookie jumps forwards here, thinks he can maybe one-tap onto Angel, but this is a great shockwave. Lands onto two members. Meiko just about survives here, though, and that is going to be critical. As you highlighted, TheShy doesn't actually get too much done right here with his World Ender, but he doesn't die, and he just buys space and time for Meiko to get back in, to keep being annoying, to do enough stuns onto ZDZ that he's not able to play the game. Yeah, Meiko finally dies to the corpse of ZDZ, but it's enough for IG to win that fight. They don't get Atakan, but while we're in that picture-in-picture, that is Cloud Soul secured for IG.
Now we're almost at a staggering 8,000 to 9,000 gold advantage in favor of IG. This is nearly the point of no return for EDG. Like we said before the game even started, when we looked at the draft, we wanted EDG to try and get a little bit more explosive with their composition. Tried to find some early game angles.
Yeah.
They definitely did try. There was attempts. But IG were able to defuse every one of them. And when it came to the full-on hands checks, IG were confident enough to say, yeah, let's just see what happens. Let's find out.
Yeah.
And they flipped heads every single time.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep trying though, right? EDG, they're going to grab themselves mid lane tower and bot lane tower, chase Wei out of their own jungle as well, and Xiaohao is going to be able to secure his blue buff. This is a decent chunk of gold back into the pockets of the EDG members, but right now, the 6k gold deficit is not the big problem. The big problem is that they lost 2 grubs, 4 drakes, the soul as well, and they've lost themselves the Atakan onto those, what was it, 18? I think it was like 15 petals at the time at which they were able to grab that for themselves. The intangible stats, the non-gold based stats that they've got are just massive. That's the big advantage that IG have right now.
You're also staring down a 3.5 item Unara.
Yeah.
And a 3
Gala
item
Unara.
Aatrox. Yeah. Gala Unara. On top of it all. Oh, EDG,
Look, there's a
how
chance.
to say you feel this is such a tough battle for them. We knew it from the beginning of this series, and we have loved their story coming from Group Nirvana. But now they have to answer the Shy's Aatrox as he and Wei just immediately say, you don't get to play the game for the next 40 seconds.
Yep.
Hope you have fun in the Death Realm.
Yeah, grey screen simulator for him right here, and IG gonna turn around to the big purple worm. It doesn't really feel like there's anything that you can do right here as EDG. Without Arn, that's a ton of your damage just evaporated off of the map. It's just going to be a bit of a push going on down in the bottom side of the map for ZDZ. See if he can maybe get himself a bit of objective bounty for the squad, but I don't even know if they're going to be able to fully do that. With a couple members heading over, there's a chance, right? Tier 2 tower should be secured, but still, massive advantage right here for IG. They are just looking to cross those T's, dot those I's, and send us to a game number 3.
DDZ gonna do his very best to just take this turret with even his dying breath if he has to give it up, because those are objective bounties he is securing for the sake of EDG. Tries to escape the Shy's grasp with the unstoppable onslaught. Now he's forced to use the teleport, but he gets interrupted. I mean, ZDZ is trying to do everything that he can just to escape. He's forced to flash, and maybe...
Ring around the rosy. I mean...
ZDZ is just getting pulled around here. Oh, this poor damn Xiaohao.
Hey, ZDZ has been doing his darndest in this game, right? The corpse of ZDZ has actually been doing a ton of work during these team fights. He's been absorbing a bunch of damage. It's just unfortunate that the remaining members of his squad haven't actually been able to do anything. I mean, that's 6 deaths onto Arn right here. He's been dead far more than he's been alive, and it's just not playable. It's in an untenable position.
Now IG don't have to fear a giant tanky Scion as they siege into the base of EDG, already eliminating the inhibitor in the mid lane, getting ready to work their way with the pushing wave that TheShy has set up onto the bottom side of the map. The rest of EDG have to wait another 10 seconds before ZDZ does spawn so that they can send the Scion to defend the remnants of this base. But Meiko is threatening on the top side with this flank, and that bottom inhibitor also falls.
Base just begins to crumble right here for EDG, staring down the barrel of an IG with a massive gold advantage, all of the objectives in their pockets as well. And with these Baron empowered cannon minions just starting to chunk away at these inhibitor towers, this is going to be the last stand. Where can they find one more fight?
Alright, well, TheShy and Rookie just burned both of their ultimates. Maybe EDG will feel confident in just sending it one last time. Xiaohao tries to go in onto Gala. The Glacial Fissure finds a knockup, but Gala is once again just doesn't care. He can just fire with absolute impunity, and the rest of IG completely steamrolling the rest of EDG in their own damn base. The rest of EDG just trying to retreat to the safety of their fountain for a little bit of extra second win, but IG put this game to rest, and IG are now on match point.
The fact that TheShy doesn't even go down right there, he took actual damage from the fountain laser and still was able to survive in that situation. IG, they're showing us that they are not just looking for a decent placing here in the finals. They are looking to get themselves into that final matchup. They are looking towards Worlds as well. This is an IG on an absolute roll.
For any EDG fans in the chat, me and Bloxxer did our best to set up realistic expectations. I know that we had a prediction that said that Bloxxer was going for EDG 3-0. Obviously,
baby.
That went out the window after the first game.
Yeah.
And we just want to stress the fact that for EDG, no matter what happens in this game 3, we are hoping that EDG do not feel completely deflated and unmotivated after the result of this series. This was probably the toughest team to face for the style that EDG have, because all of their major advantages, IG have been able to deflect by some of the best teams in Group Ascend already time and time again, especially towards the end of the Rumble stage.
It's so tough to beat IG. I mean, they came out of that regular season with a 6-game win streak, including a 2-0 versus BLG for second spot in Group Ascend. We've been saying it a lot, right? If they maybe had a slightly quicker start off after the break, maybe they would have been our top team. Maybe they would have been able to beat TES out for that top spot, and who knows what we would have been talking about then. They look incredibly strong. They are a well-deserving seed 2. You can see here, EDG coming in as the 10th place seed, right? That is the bottom seed that we've got. And still, I have a lot of faith in an EDG at least putting in a great showing in the next round versus it would be JDG if they end up losing here, right? I don't think that they're completely down and out. The EDG going to Worlds is still alive, but I don't think they're going to secure that spot in those finals playoffs here versus IG. This is a little bit too tall of an ask for them, because IG, they are just so strong, and they are getting towards being quite a complete team. Yes, they've got these crazy comebacks for themselves, and they don't really find big early game advantages, but it's that mid to late game macro that is so nice that it feels almost impossible to be able to beat them when it comes to the end of the game.
And there are definitely a couple takeaways from this second game in particular where there are still some hesitations about IG on a grander scale and things that they need to work on as a squad. Rookie, I'm looking at you, buddy.
Rookie, yeah.
Some of those early game moments. This is our second All-Pro mid from Rumble stage. And the reason why he got second All-Pro mid is because of all the decisions and the plays that he makes after the early game, after the early laning phase. But there's still moments where Rookie finds himself mechanically misplaying, flashing and still getting clipped by a shockwave. Happens, you know, but Rookie still makes up for it later on. But against different caliber teams going forward, we don't know if that's going to be something that IG have to worry about for playoffs. Maybe Top Esports show a different form, or BLG are able to level up. Very, very, very doubtful, since they were brought to full 5 games by JDG. But maybe Top Esports, or if anyone's legend is able to show the form that they were in when they won Split 2 playoffs, then that's what IG have to prep themselves for. And I appreciate that once IG realized that EDG were not really pressing the game forward, it's IG to say, all right, we're just going to start flipping the game. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Let's just keep playing. Let's just keep on making things difficult, asking difficult questions of EDG and seeing how they respond. And the answer from EDG was constantly, hey, we're going to try for a fight, but they weren't able to full commit to a lot of these. I think, again, another game from Angel where he just wasn't able to deal the damage that he needed. I don't think he was playing quite so far back as he was on the Talia, you know, it wasn't quite as egregious, but still, he's not able to be this big damage threat right here on the Orianna, despite the fact they take this champion for him relatively early on in the draft. They're clearly putting a lot of focus onto what he wants, how he wants his matchups to be, putting him in a comfortable position, and it just isn't working out in the end. Still, I don't know how much I can criticize the members of EDG when you've got yourself a 32k damage game for TheShy on Aatrox and a 30k damage game on Yanara for Gala. I mean, the top and bottom sides of the map are absolutely wrecking house at the moment. It doesn't matter what Rookie's doing. TheShy and Gala are feeling themselves right now, and it is so fun to watch.
There's a reason why TheShy was the unanimous first All-Pro top laner for this split. This guy has been blowing up ever since we saw inklings of it in Split 2, where I know Alk was a big proponent and one of the early TheShy supporters when he first started seeing a lot of the showings of TheShy starting to put forward a strong carry performance. Remember, TheShy was starting to innovate earlier than a lot of our other top laners in the LPL. In Split 2, he brought Nidalee Top to the forefront, and overall in this Split 3, he has just been on absolute tear, almost unstoppable by any other top laner from Group Ascend, and he's continued to push himself into the stratosphere when it comes to just putting on carry performance after carry performance. It doesn't matter if you try and punch him down in the laning phase or put a lot of time into ganking him, because he still finds a way to be useful and just as big of a threat as possible. And this was a game where there was no ganks that were successful against this guy, so he didn't lose, he didn't die a single time in laning phase, so that just means TheShy gets all of his farm uncontested, and he becomes this massive threat in these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, he was a monster. And it's not just this game, right? It was a slightly quieter Aurora game, but I think TheShy made the key play that we ended up seeing in that previous game around the Baron. He dies, but he takes so much time that you don't allow Xiaohao to go into the pit and get that steal away, and the return on the rest of the fight works out really well for IG. I mean, he was just so annoying on that champion, and now on the Aatrox, again, annoying, buying time. You ended up in another situation where you've got your Xin Zhao spending time top lane, looking for ganks, and it's not working out. You're not getting any gold off of this time investment scene, and it is really rough. In terms of game MVP right here, I would give it to TheShy. I would. I think he was incredibly important to this game.
I think because Gala died in a couple 1v1s against On, it has to be TheShy by default.
Yeah. It was a big boy performance from him, right? He put his carry pants on.
Yep. TheShy Aatrox, something that most G2 fans do not remember fondly of in in years past.
What do you mean G2 fans? EU fans. LEC fans in general not got fond memories of this guy.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, that does put a wrap on Game 2. But before we head to Game 3 of this series, we want to remind everyone at home, if you would like to support the LPL English, consider becoming a Coffee member. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project. since the vast majority of your contributions will go directly to the show. A lot of the initial payments go into upgrading the broadcast, but a huge bulk of it pays on-air talent and content creators. So subscribe to our Coffee linked in chat to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for our unique on-site interviews. All right, EDG, let's see if you've got what it takes to try and push Invictus Gaming to the brink, take a game off of them, or if this is going to be a 3-0 sweep. We'll find out right after this break.